Hello and welcome to Evolve. I am your host, Jamil Khoury, Arabic pronunciation Jamil Khoury, founder and director of Polycultural Institute, the think and create tank of Chicago's Silk Road Cultural Center. Today's episode of Evolve marks part 3 of our Rebuilding Syria collection. It is titled In Defense of the Mosaic. The term Syrian mosaic is routinely evoked to describe Syria's diverse ethnic and religious demography. It symbolizes the reality of Syrian pluralism, of a coexistent, ancient, and cosmopolitan society with lively interaction between cultures, communities, and faiths. We also hear references to the Syrian tapestry and the Syrian social fabric, conjuring images of an interwoven textile replete with elegant embroidery. A mosaic is different from the American idea of the melting pot in that it presents distinct pieces in a harmonious relationship. The melting pot is more assimilationist. The mosaic is more integrative. It emphasizes both intra-community integrity and inter-community togetherness. I think it's more accurate to compare the mosaic to another American demographic metaphor, the salad bowl. Admittedly, there are some who reject the language of the mosaic as they believe it distorts and undermines Syria's social cohesion, its inherent unity, and that it accentuates internal differences and divisions. They argue that the very naming of a mosaic continues the work of earlier colonial and imperial projects. Now, I understand where they're coming from. I just don't agree with them. Inadvertently or otherwise, they're conflating the mosaic with a proto-multiculturalism that emphasizes distinctness and separation. A society comprised of discrete communities operating as detached silos, bound by perpetual conflict. Not at all a desirable picture. It is why, in part, multiculturalism has largely failed. The good news is that I am a polyculturalist and not a multiculturalist. I'm interested in that which unites people, not that which divides people. The Syrian mosaic works beautifully for me because it's rooted in history, connectedness, flexibility, fluidity, dynamic interchange, and cultural evolution. The mosaic doesn't reinforce colonialism and imperialism, it resists colonialism and imperialism. Okay, so we've established that Syrian society is a mosaic. But who exactly are the Syrians? Indulge me a little personal ownership. My dad was from Syria. I'm a culturally and politically engaged Syrian American with lots of Syria experience. Syrians are the heirs of numerous civilizations and bygone eras, of kingdoms and empires, glories and triumphs, conquests and defeats. We are the sum total of millennia of human habitation, constant migration, the blending of peoples and cultures, and the robust exchange of ideas, traditions, practices, beliefs, stories, and art. We are Arabs, Armenians, Assyrians, Circassians, Greeks, Jews, Kurds, Syriacs, and Turkmen. We are Palestinian refugees and their descendants. We are Muslim, Sunni, Shia, Alawi, and Ismaili. We are Christian and Druze, Jewish and Yazidi. Syria's diversity is central to Syrian identity. It is what makes Syria special, unique, vital, and inspiring, a potential model for other societies. Without its diversity, without the mosaic, there is no Syria. There may be something else, but it isn't Syria. Which brings us to the popular American adage, diversity is our strength. Diversity is Syria's strength if it brings Syrians together. If it is used to tear Syrians apart, diversity is a weapon. The same can be said for the United States. The Assad regime weaponized Syria's diversity to horrific ends. They manipulated, hijacked, and abused the mosaic to consolidate and wield power. If they taught us anything, it's that sectarian impulses need to be kept in check. Which is why Syria needs a constitution that enshrines the mosaic. A constitution that identifies ethnic and religious pluralism as a key national interest and imperative. Culturally, politically, and legally, the mosaic will not be held together by force or authoritarianism, identity politics, or segregation, but by guaranteed freedoms. Freedoms of expression, conscience, belief, association, and assembly. In this hypothetical new constitution, Kurdish and Syriac would be adopted as official languages alongside Arabic, and the Armenian, Circassian, and Turkmen languages would be officially recognized. I align with those who believe in one Syria, a united Syria, pluralism over balkanization any day. Out of many, we are one, a proud Syria. But a unified Syria does not negate federalist and localist approaches to governing. A strong central government in Damascus matters, but so do genuinely empowered provinces, regions, and municipalities. Hyper-centralization of state power has not worked well for Syria. Nor has majoritarianism. We hear a lot these days about Syria's Sunni Muslim majority, with everyone else lumped together as so-called minorities. This majority-minority binary is coupled with an assumption that Sunni Muslims are somehow a monolith. Nothing could be further from the truth. Syria's Sunni Muslims are Arabs, Kurds, Turkmen, and Circassians. They are urban, rural, and nomadic, rich, poor, and middle class. They are observant and non-observant, traditional and conservative, middle of the road, liberal, progressive, and feminist, and some are fundamentalists and extremists. Like all of Syria's religious communities, Sunni Muslims do not speak with one voice. Truth be told, when it comes to Syria, I have a particular aversion to the word minority. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I don't want to view Syria through the lens of the majoritized and the minoritized. Minority signifies an inferior status, a marginal place in society, a quality of being less important, less relevant, less than. It reinforces the dominance and superiority of the presumed majority. I am not denying that there are contexts in which it's necessary to reference majorities and minorities, such as a majority of voters or a minority of legislators. I also acknowledge that it sometimes behooves us to reference Muslim-majority countries or Christian-majority countries, and we can do so without ascribing generalized meanings to said majorities. But when it comes to ethnicity and religion, I'd like to reduce our dependence on majority-minority paradigms and put their judgment-laden assumptions to rest. Instead, I prefer to reference communities, ethnic communities, religious communities, cultural communities, etc. Some may say that demography is inherently neutral. I would say that demography is too often political. It's either an assertion of power and privilege or an indicator of powerlessness and inferiority. More of us, less of you, we matter more. Compare and contrast Ismaili Muslim minority with Ismaili Muslim community. The former evokes something peripheral, even vulnerable, whereas the latter imparts something robust and dynamic. Minority conveys scarcity, while community reveals abundance. When I think of my Syrian community, the Syrian Christian community, I never think of us as a minority. 2,000 years of Syrian Christianity in the land where the term Christian was originally coined does not make for a minority. Our persecutors may minoritize us, but we are an ancient, indigenous, integral, and indivisible part of the Syrian nation. Syrian Christians and Syrian Jews are essential. Despite the claims of some, a mosaic does not signify disunity or fragmentation. To the contrary, Syria's rich mix of communities is united in their abiding love of Syria and being Syrian. They deserve a Syria that loves them back, a Syria in which all Syrians can prosper and thrive. Belonging to a community should never define whether one is a first or second-class citizen, favored or despised. And no one community should be allowed to dominate and impose its will or religious laws on any other community. Demography is destiny only if we confine ourselves to a false binary of winners and losers. Majority-minority rigs the system. It's a roadmap to injustice. Conversely, a mosaic of diverse communities, connected and at peace, is where the real energy resides, the true dynamo, the engine of a Syrian renaissance. Besides, majorities are fleeting. The people keep evolving. I stand in defense of the Syrian mosaic. If we care about Syrian pluralism and the integrity of the Syrian state, we must be vigilant in opposing those who stoke conflict between communities. We must stand for the whole of Syria. The rebuilding of Syria depends on it. On that note, thank you for joining us for this episode of Evolve. To learn more about Silk Road Cultural Center and Polycultural Institute, and to support us with a donation, please visit us at silkroadculturalcenter.org. If you enjoyed this content and want to help us expand our reach, please like, share, and subscribe. We all have a role to play in rebuilding Syria. Until next time, thank you for tuning in. May God bless and protect you.